For anybody who didn't know, Jay Howe's a sweet Southern Kentucky boy here.
Yeah.
We got the battleground for game number 4, ladies and gentlemen, as we move past the dorm. Game number 4 on Volskaya Foundry. I'm not sure how I feel about this, to be honest. I mean, the fact that Freedom is selecting the map and their match point, the dominance that we got from them in the last game, I feel like it very much would be, you know, kind of the breaking point. I feel like they gain an upper hand, but normally when I see a map kind of selected on one side or the other, I go, ooh, I feel like that's a risk, or this team's really going to take it. But here I just go back to square one, even footing, who ends up getting better draft here.
I feel that right now it's not so much that Team Freedom might be saying, hey, what do we play well on? It might be, what does Team Octalysis play bad on? Yeah. This is the only, other than Tomb, which was why it was surprising to me that we saw them pick Tomb on Team Octalysis.
Yeah.
This is the only other battleground they have a losing record on. They're 1-3 on this battleground. Team Freedom, they're sitting neutral, 3-3 coming into this weekend, so maybe they're just looking at maybe the flaws of Team 12. Or Team Octalysis.
Yeah, going back to last game as well, I mentioned I didn't really understand the Diablo pick, and they picked up the Monk as well. And I mean, those heroes did what they're supposed to do in that game, but when you're going up against a composition that has basically S-tier heroes all around, like arguably your worst hero is Muradin in that composition, which is insane. You know, those heroes are not enough to cut it at the end of the day. So I think they're just trying to go on a map where Team Octalysis is not comfortable on, and if they can do that, it seems like they might pick some suboptimal picks or struggle a bit.
I wonder if, I mean, obviously Medivh has got to be something that comes to light, and the fact that we got it in both game number 1 and 2, it's not like Volskaya Foundry is a bad map for the Medivh. Some may even make the argument it's a better one because of the cheeky way you can play around with those kind of conveyor belts. Maiev is definitely something that's got to come out of the table. I feel like Lutano and the Maiev in the last game, normally we see Ambraxis hold out outside of 1-4s. Maevs don't have big impacts in games. I feel like he, you know, especially in that last tether, was probably the biggest tether I feel like I've ever seen in my entire life setting up the team. Those two things are immediately heroes that I want to see Team Freedom trying to manipulate and get onto their side. And again, another player that hero-wise I want to keep my eyes on has got to be Yoda, because I agree from beginning to end on that statement. The less on the melees, more on this hybrid of like using the, what I'm calling the European approach to Phoenix, which is comfortable being that offlaner and abusing the shield and abusing Planet Cracker. They are kind of integrating that very, very cleverly here towards a North American style, and it's working out.
He hasn't been punished for it either. There hasn't been very many rotations onto that. I mean, obviously his Greymane play has been really good. The Phoenix there, I think a lot of what he's doing, obviously or he wasn't on the Greymane, he was on the Medivh. But you look back to yesterday on the Greymane, things like that, that this weekend are heroes that they were very, you know, well known, I think, in the early part of the year, and then all of a sudden he kind of started to do a few things differently. So I'm wondering, I mean, look, this is one of those battlegrounds. Look, if you want Lutano to carry your team, when we talk about Tassadar, well, Tracer, you talk about Tassadar players, I mean, you've got Fan up here, probably the best, and then all of a sudden you kind of look down the line and Yoda's like, well, maybe I'm the best, right? Yoda, I mean, it's funny, you can tune into certain streams and all of a sudden, like, there's Yoda on Tassadar, you're like, oh, it's casual, like, of course that happens, that's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, Yoda is showing up big today for sure as well, and yeah, regarding last game even, I forgot to mention, you mentioned it in the broadcast, J-Hal, but Planet Cracker is actually a plan B. I've heard rumors that if you get the perfect angle, if you line it up just right, that thing actually clears basically the entire Zerg wave. I've never seen it happen, but
I was going to say, I've seen a couple people try, and so far, from my experience, has been suboptimal. But I'm excited to see the day, you know, when we get that kind of next level angle, you know, bringing out the protractor over from Hanzo now onto the Planet Cracker.
Look, Tomb of the Spider Queen, you lose mid-keep, you just aim it straight down the middle.
Maiev and Medivh, oh my gosh. Medivh and Maiev taking off the table already in the ban phase. Garrosh is going to be the first pick for Octalysis. Haven't gotten us too much Garrosh so far throughout this series, and I'm excited to see that here in the hands of Justing. But a snap Malfurion and Hanzo in the response.
Hanzo, for me, is the best Garrosh counter. You outrange him by a mile. You just armor reduction, sustain. It's like, Garrosh, good luck. Like, and as long as Zugrug doesn't commit to a hero that is vulnerable to a Garrosh, it's almost impossible to stay on point as a Garrosh.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, these picks are fairly standard, but so far both teams seem pretty comfortable with what they have.
I'd be a little bit hesitant here if I'm Octalysis to pick up my damage dealer, not seeing what the tank might be. I feel like they might be able to go down one route, but Octalysis tends to commit really heavily into a certain style, each different battleground, each different warrior. I mean, I think that they can commit softly. Again, you know, the Jaina, stuff like that has been coming up a lot here in North America. But given that we don't know what's on the other side yet, I'd be really hesitant. But they go the Jaina right out of the gate.
Jay, I feel like we've been saying this for the past couple of weeks since Gale Force got that level of priority. It's like, you know, maybe some other than Jaina, now other teams are picking it up to equal priority. I think she's here to stay, mate. I hate to break it to you, but she's not going anywhere.
What's wrong with not just going like Stukov Blaze?
No, I agree, and then you wait it out. I agree. There are a couple of heroes, especially within the offlane specifically, but that in mind, North America has lower priority on offlane choking than almost every other region in the world, far and above. Our offlanes are literally our offlanes. We let them just be by themselves for far longer than any other region does. Others, you know, Korea is especially, you know, very, very good at putting a high amount of priority and emphasis on annoying the offlane and never leaving it as a authentic 1-versus-1. And I think that's part of the reason is because we do not cater to it. It's not that important because most of the time the kills, the ganks, and the weakness, the flaw of the composition is not exploited because we don't gank, or at least attend towards it.
This still leaves open, I think, for me, when I look at this. So Tracer there, it still leaves open the Tassadar. Potentially you get the armor when that shield breaks against the likes of Jaina to protect that front line, no matter who it is. So I still think that's a possibility to pair with that Hanzo, but again, it's, ooh. Wow. Team Octalysis is thinking the same thing.
That is interesting. The one thing that I was thinking about this draft is I do agree that the Jaina priority here might be a little bit too high. The wave clear on Volskaya, while it is important, it's not like Tomb where it's of paramount importance. And on top of that, Hanzo, he outranges Jaina, and Jaina can't really, I mean, by definition, that means Jaina can't really reach Hanzo easily. And when you can't reach Hanzo, he's going to outpoke you. He's going to eventually kill your whole team. I was thinking maybe they would just rip Taz Tracer in the 2-3 right there. Akira is a very good Tracer, and that would be something that could pressure Hanzo significantly, but both are now banned out.
Now, I'm thinking about Yoda, right? Hanzo, Lutano, they go hand in hand. If I'm talking about what do I do to deal with this, a hero that you mentioned in an earlier draft, Tychus. Tychus has great control over the front line, does really well all around. It's a hero we've known Yoda to play, but Tychus has fallen so far out of favor, I feel like teams just kind of have forgotten about it.
I agree. It does feel like it's kind of, even though there hasn't been a major change in one direction or the other to argue that he should fall out of the favor, but he's just very much lower in priority. We do that quite often here in North America. Every region, for that matter, does that, where, you know, it seems like a hero just kind of disappears, and it's like whoever starts bringing it back and then start having the wins, and then suddenly Tychus is back in the meta.
SDE for Ballistics, I think, has like 17 Tychus games. He's like, look, I don't care. It's like, SC, you do you. I'll just stand around and minigun, and I'll just be the safe hero you carry.
Yeah, and there's two ways to deal with the Garrosh composition. You know, one is you try to kill the Garrosh with Tychus or something similar. The other one is if you do have that Hanzo already, you just try to not die until your Hanzo outpokes them, and Team Freedom is clearly aware of that. They're going with a very hard-to-kill frontline with the Haka and Johanna.
Love me some Johanna on Volskaya.
Could you guys feel the salt? Because I could. My sodium levels just increase about 5 times hearing you say those words.
Need some water.
Yeah.
They need sustain. Phoenix likely falls into this category, but again, we've seen this from other teams. It's not exactly the best. I think both Jaina and Phoenix, when he puts the laser out, that's where his damage comes in. I'd like to shy away from that, maybe pick up the Greymane or the Tychus for yourself. But again, going into a Johanna and a Dahaka, not exactly the most favorable.
I wonder if Team Octalysis will lock in a Genji here. I really feel like they wanted the Tracer, but it might have been a mistake to leave it until so late. So now that the Tracer's not available, Genji's the next best option to pressure the Hanzo, and they do end up taking it.
Yeah, with the Tassadar ban, to me, it immediately was like they have to be getting something to accent that Jaina and make sure they get a little bit more kill potential there. With the Genji backing it up, it will very much be there. So what is going to be this last selected, you know, kind of backliner for Team Freedom? It's a Falstad. It will help buy a little bit of time there towards the Hanzo, but I can't help but feel like providing another vulnerable target to the Genji-Jaina combo.
Yeah.
Seems like a extremely bold move.
Falstad over a Tychus. Tychus, a lot more survivability in terms of health pool, in terms of tools he has available. But there's something about the new Falstad that he's on. I don't know if this is one where Seasoned Marksman makes a bit more sense.
I agree with you, but I have a feeling we're just not going to see it. Yoda has had some of the more unique builds out of all of North America, and when he just does his own thing no matter what, from beginning to end. It doesn't seem like it is, you know, kind of following or catering to the norm.
Even the 20 upgrade on Greymane.
I mean, I will say if he goes full W build again, like one of the few heroes I can see that working okay against is Garrosh, because I believe that does outrange Garrosh's initiation range, and then you just put it on him, and then you're like, yeah, I'm just going to keep this on you. If you play right, you can just keep zapping him.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it does add that hero that can be killed by Genji, so we'll see.
I also want to see the level 4. Last time he went the W at 4, got the new barrel roll talent, man. Go into fights pre-shielded now.
It's pretty neat. I mean, again, to be honest with you, Boomerang and Flow Rider are such good talents on Falstad and so innate to how he has to function that outside of if you're going auto attack Giant Killer, which you can make the justification and the compositions that you're going to need that, it just feels like if you aren't going into either of those, you have to be insanely efficient in one area or another, and typically W isn't it. But I do agree with the sentiment. I was talking about Arthas is also one of those heroes that, you know, his range, lethality, he's kind of vulnerable, no gap closure. You can put the W on him, he might be able to go down. Same argument with a Garrosh. Garrosh is a little bit, you know, harder to kill, but I still feel like it's like, is that going to outweigh what an auto attack damage would have been? And I feel like that's not the answer. We get the Wingman, and we'll figure out if we still get full W here.
Lutano already under assault there, but Johanna going to go in. Get a little bit of control over the remaining members of Octalysis, and again, having the Jaina rotation, they'll be able to instantly just kind of walk up, have control of the clear, but with Johanna there, Hanzo obviously not, his wave clear doesn't really come online till level 4, and again, when you go this build, we'll see Redemption, then the explosive arrow at level 4, followed up by the armor reduction at 7. I feel that gives you that single target control, plus the limited amount of wave clear I think that is required for this battleground.
I always love watching kind of Lutano within the laning situation and watching when he goes in for the damage and not, especially after hearing, you know, Fan talk about breaking down Crowan's play and when he goes for the autos, when he doesn't go for it. Just always kind of keep track, especially around that Garrosh, about how often you see that auto attack damage come in and it's being abusing the weakness of the range of the Garrosh. Teams picking up their turret camp, standard Volskaya Foundry play. Really, I feel like at this point, the biggest tell towards is a team pulling ahead on Volskaya Foundry, is anybody kind of setting the tone outside of dominating the waves and taking out front walls, is the support camp. That is the only neutralized actual camp where you can say, I gained something, you know, more than my opponent.
Right now, the rotation up by Octalysis to kind of meet Team Freedom, who's up there. You can see all the vision in the world. Cure and Justin, you're not sneaking up on anybody. Not against the Moonfire that goes down, has the reveal. And then, of course, the big Sonic arrow going out there provides a little bit of vision.
Temporary lane advantage here for Freedom after Blaze made the rotation up for a kill potential. Yoda's still going to do his best here on the off lane. Didn't end up committing still towards that W build so far here at level 4. The biggest one is 7. If we still see the no 7, I'm going to be looking at every team fight and going, where are you gaining the value? Because, you know, again, on the global front, it's very difficult.
Okay, so one of the biggest reasons, so it provides single target bursts, but it also provides actual wave clear, which gives you stacks on your Wingman. That's the biggest thing, I think, when we look at Boomerang, is that it provides wave clear, which gives you stacks. It doesn't get any more cut and dry than that. However, on this battleground,
dude, I look even farther than that, to be honest with you. Like, you look at that as like this synergizes with your talent. I say I don't even care if it synergizes with Wingman, purely to have a global in an off lane and be impactful. If you don't have wave clear, you aren't a global. You might as well be in the fight because you aren't going to gain an upper hand. It's a 5 versus 4 anyways.
But
so,
because the control points do last a while, and you can side soak beside it, maybe that's the thought process.
I mean, it could in fact be.
Playing devil's advocate right here because I agree with you.
I know. I'm just trying to say is like I'm trying to provide the argument as to why we've been so vocal about this. This isn't your average like light. Oh, we got a talent adjustment. This is a debatably huge, you know, maybe setback for the squad. We'll find out though. Didn't hold its own last time. Maybe it will here.
Well, there's the curious case of Garrosh there. As you can see, there's going to be a flip back to charge in. The big damage, and Cure coming in to get the reset. I was about to say, Justine getting poked off the point there by Lutano, and they're still having trouble holding on to that despite the fact that he did get the Johanna takedown. But credit for Buds for getting that set up, and now Cure
Ooh, got dragged up. Jet Propulsion now going to land on Nasmus. Flip over.
Oh.
Octalysis is here. Burn the passive. Dark Swarm's going to allow him to get mobility, move through the models of Octalysis, but it's not going to be enough to retreat as Goku throws down the flame. Another kill here for Octalysis, and the biggest thing is the percentage, 40 and counting.
It's happening. Level 7 still going into that lightning rod. Yoda will ride or die by this, and probably won't be flow riding.
No flow riding this time.
The amount of poke that just annihilates.
Wow, nice
Kara.
root. Great root there. Able to get the rebuttal kill here for Team Freedom and a lot of percentage.
They managed to get the turret, but at what cost? They lose control. They use Stukov to go over there and try and help just a little bit. Stukov, sneaky when it comes to miniature camps because he does provide quite a bit of damage and is very slow auto attacks.
Blaze has now made his way back into the battlefield. 30% available for Team Freedom. See if Yoda makes the transition down. It looks like he will, to be able to join in over what is expected to be a skirmish for the final percentage here.
Justin holding point for now. We'll see what Lutano can do to poke away as that armor reduction continuing to come in and be a threat towards the garage.
Jet Propulsion used. Nasmus falling pretty low. Root's going to be dropped already from Collusion. So no follow-up. 3-man condemn. Yoda is going to be under a bit of pressure as Cure goes in. Cyber Agility. Not going to be popped. The turret ends up going down. Condemn. Going to hit 4 more, 5 more for that matter. Flip over. Justin falling low. Goku trying to get out there. He's going to get into the frayed out. Justin ends up going down there. The W damage from Yoda, actually, the thing that got the kill.
Yeah.
And, in fact, is going to be able to get the kill. And, more importantly, this protector behind it. So far, you know, we haven't gotten to the global side of things and whether or not that's going to be an impact. But for the first time out of the 2 games, we got it in that skirmish. Definitely adding up here for Yoda.
Yeah, it's not like he's kind of obtained a lot of stacks. He does have 2 stacks, which give him 10% bonus damage on that. Goku, does Goku make it out alive?
Oh, not with that W
so.
damage.
See if he's got, oh, there's a little bit of supporting, but level 10's been picked up.
Drag.
He's got to get into the minions.
Oh,
the slow by punish.
And it's enough to get the kill. Wow, another pickup here for Freedom. And meanwhile, we look at the top lane. Protector still up, ready and available here for another 20 seconds. Things are near perfect opener here for Team Freedom. After what was, if we take a minute to think about what happened at the control point A, they started that out with a 60 deficit and 2 picks against them. All because of that one root from Collusion, which set up the kill onto Goku, and they're back in this game. Full control for that matter at this point in time, as they almost got the fort and they have set themselves up to, we talk about control point B all the time on this map. You know, without that well, it's devastating.
I think people kind of underestimate, you know, just the fact that you get that top point and it makes it so much easier to just kind of continue to rotate that. And if you get the second one, then you do the same thing on the third. It's just very hard to come back. And Dread, don't mean to alarm anybody, but Water Elemental's been put to the side.
Oh, baby. Ring of Frost is back. Ring of Frost into a Tranquility, Dragon's Arrow. Gust is probably one of the biggest deterrents. You know, obviously for a Ring of Frost, you throw down the ring, he just gusts. Because Ring is not in full stun, it is only a snare. It's very easy to make sure you always get the initiation that you would like around that.
Zugrog, Iron Skin's used, but the body block was very much there. Justin, he's walking in, gets the flip over onto Dahaka. There's going to be the taunt, but there's a big stun, and that's going to be the kill. Healing Pulse did not go down. Ring of Frost was used, but 0 follow-up, and Team Freedom Dreadnought is just bringing the hammer to every team fight, and Team Octalysis has not had an answer. Things spiraling out of control here.
And even though that wasn't a disengaged fight around the Ring of Frost, we did see that the Ring of Frost, over the small amount of connection, like, didn't really have that big an impact in terms of, I mean, it didn't hit everybody, it controlled them into the center, but the few targets it did hit, health pool-wise, you didn't look at that and go, ooh, this is going to be a major setback if that happens, you know, going towards the future. So it is going to be a little bit grim. The only reason I feel like that's impactful, or at least something to be noting looking forward, is because there are so many good, pretty good deterrent tools to avoid Ring of Frost from gaining much value in the majority of these fights. So any case where we can look at, well, when it does go off and it is around controlling people, where does it gain the impact? And there it was only territorially. Team Freedom do make the transition down, burn the Gust.
Yeah, Nasmus under a lot of pressure there, ended up making it out. We do see the camp by Team Freedom picked up, though, up at the top. So calculated approach, but Octalysis now, Dread, they've got to start making something happen. They recognize that. They're trying to see if they can find somebody in rotation, unable to do so on 13 talent here for Team Freedom. Octalysis, I don't want to say things are getting desperate, but you can tell by their movements and their approach to this battleground, they are definitely feeling the pressure.
They very much are. Bottom lane might be a place where they could, you know, look to pick something up more than just a pick on to Nasmus. Maybe that front wall to secure the 13s. Hold up, though. Justin's taking a lot of damage there. All the damage from Yoda with the W build coming to life here. As that was, I think, 5 hits in a row consecutively on that, putting the damage out, getting the kill here, and now Team Octalysis, the front line, just doesn't have the survivability.
Yeah, he did go the W build, obviously getting 20% more damage with each subsequent strike, and of course the extra baseline damage. Also, he has 4 stacks going into that fight, now 5 after what we just saw there, so he's got 25% bonus damage just based off of the wingman talent alone. So, we didn't see the value of it before, but this seems like the map, the battleground, that Yoda, he's onto something. No Flow Rider, though, so you don't get the cooldown reduction.
And still definitely suffers in the world of global kind of macro sense, but when it comes to team fighting, new and improved Falstad here.
Dahaka. Just let Dahaka be that man.
Yeah, you got the global there. We don't
let Falstad, look, if you see the Falstad in your team, let him kind of, you know, chill out. Not be there. There's going to be the toss and the taunt. There's going to be the instant blow up as the root goes down. Dragon Blade is out. See the Blessed Shield in return. Zugrug's going to hold on to point for the moment, but he is eating a lot of damage. There's the stun. Tranquility plus the emitter are enough to keep Zugrug alive, but not before. Dahaka fell at the beginning of that. Now we'll see if Octalysis can make more happen.
But he will be able to brush Doc back into this fight, and the percentage is going to be near dead even between the two teams when that happens. So there's still, by no means, you know, a moment to be able to panic here for Team Freedom. They will be able to get the reinitiation. No 16 will... They can't rely on picking up the 16 for the next team fight. It's going to have to be an even one, and that is where Octalysis really needs to set the tone. Wingman is going to go ahead and pick up this turret before the flight back up to the top half of the map.
He had 1 stack, and then that is the value. He had 1 stack and then pressed W. I mean, that ripped through that health bar, but all of a sudden, collusion. This is not a spot he wants to be. That's going to be a kill. All of a sudden, Octalysis is right back in here. Zugrug does not have Iron Skin as that goes down. There goes the Ring of Frost. That's going to land on a Falstad. That's going to get a kill. Garage hops into the bunker. He's going to be alive for now. Zugrug forced to use the Blessed Shield, trying to get re-engaged upon. That's going to get the kill. That's going to get the takedown. Isolation hits onto Genji. An unfortunate circumstance there.
I actually don't even know if Nasmus intended to hit that isolation on Go, because what that was is Genji confirming the kill onto Johanna, and he was actually trying to isolate, I believe it was the Blaze who was on top of the Johanna, and then ended up getting the Swift Strike right through, and it was like, I guess I'm the target now. Genji ends up dropping there. Cure on the side of Octalysis, but the percentage and the Protector are very much going to be here. They will be able to pick up 16 for themselves, but what was looking like an extremely grim game suddenly has become very, very winnable, almost near even here for Octalysis.
You know, this is something we don't see that often, but I've kind of wondered the auto attack talent at level 16 for Hanzo, the Giant Slayer. It's kind of the form of Giant Killer. Hit it by the scatter arrow and basic attacks, take an additional 1.5 of their maximum health as damage. And going up against the Garrosh, it's a little bit of a change-up. Generally, we see maybe the Pierce, maybe the extra damage off the attacks, but we're seeing the Giant Slayer here. This might be my first time, or at least the first time I've recognized it.
I do believe it's the first time that I've seen it for sure here.
It's not a meta thing, that's for sure, but Team Freedom doing things a little bit differently.
And making it look good here. Again, they are now 1 game away from finishing out this series, and more importantly, finding themselves 1 series away from the mid-season brawl. But they got to get through this Protector. Making it now its way up towards the key front wall.
Octalysis has now neutralized the experience, have gained themselves map control. Again, control point C will be this bot lane. There is no fort to retreat back to, no well to go back and tap in this circumstance. And on the side of Octalysis, you look at the minimap, that plus sign there says they still have their well. They're going to be just fine. They got the root. They got to be careful here. There's only a few seconds left on this Dread. They might have a fight on their hands.
If this thing drops without the Falstad available, the Dragon Arrow comes in. Oh my goodness. Look at that flip over Zugrug. Now the flight from behind, you're going to get gusted so hard here, boys.
Here we go.
Let's go. Gust in, Taunt immediately gets the follow-up, and no kill to be gained quite yet after that bunker, and Cure is winning the 1v1 into Yoda. He actually gets the kill on that flight, Gus, and now Octalysis is turning this around.
Ring of Frost! It goes down. There's going to be the root. And all of a sudden, Dahaka, he's going to fall. The unstoppable from the Iron Skin is going to be enough. Lutano, though, he's going to get tossed back in. Massive shove into the wall. Octalysis has turned this around. Dreadnought, they have 3 members down on the side of Team Freedom. They're going to make their way towards this keep. There's an outside shot. They might just go directly to core.
Yeah, that is only a Malfurion and Johanna, 2 of the, least impactful roles when it comes to defending the core, and definitely some of the least impactful. I mean, it's a Johanna outside of the blind. She cannot stop this. 16 seconds until Falstad is back with a gust. That is the only cooldown we got to be keeping track of. Is Octalysis now march towards this core and look to be sending us to a game 5. Still 5 seconds out for the Falstad. 80% here, J-Howe.
It might not be over. Blessed Shield was used. It's going to buy time. Falstad is here. He should have Gust. Let's see if he gets in there. 30% volume. There's going to be the Gust. The Ice Block is going to be there. 20%. They try and get back in. This should do it. Todd goes out. That is 5% and falling. And Octalysis, after looking like they might have been on their last leg, Dreadnought turned that game around in dramatic fashion. Wow.
Oh, baby.
I mean, that was kind of like a very controlled pace by Team Freedom, and then everything blew up in their face.
Staggered death after staggered death. Force arrow by force error on the side of Team Octalysis. Fan, what just went down, man?
I mean, you said it, man. They were 3 levels up. Freedom was like around 3 or maybe 2 to 3 levels up. They had full control of the game. Huge props to Justin on the Garrosh there. He found the first pick on Johanna, which triggered another pick on Malfurion right before Johanna could get back. And then, yeah, like you said, pick after pick after pick, and then snowball into Octalysis victory.
Okay, whoever's driving the Protector found the route onto a Johanna. And it's like, oh, I'm going to go and get that damage. And I'm like, there's only like 5 seconds left on this. And then I look up and I see the little icon of a Jaina. I'm like, dude, Jaina's in that thing. And then all of a sudden I'm like, they're going to have a fight on their hand. And the fact that they came in looking for that fight right after the Gust, and then, of course, Dragon Blade out-damaged the wingman there.
I just the one thing about that last initiation that I always struggle with Falstad compositions is you definitely see the thought process in the initiation, but they are willing to burn heroics before Falstad has hit the ground. And that is such a common element when you look for those mega Gust-oriented teams. That very few actually have the Falstad in position, ready to do everything. The Gust is going to have follow-up damage coming out behind it. And that is maybe one other, before we go to a commercial break, kind of conundrum about the Falstad build is that it doesn't have the ability to follow up on its Gust with that high amount of burst that we typically see with Boomerang. But at the same time, we saw the argument. It at least got the single-target frontline threat that we expected the build to be very successful at, and maybe is going to be a futuristic counter towards the Garrosh. I don't know. We're going to have to find out because we're going to a commercial break. But when we come back,